usual.
Christopher, welcome to Chicago. It is such a pleasure to have you here with us. You know, I was looking through just all of your movies, and every single one, I just had an immediate memory of my life and my experiences. And I look out into this audience where we have children and adults that I know have experienced the exact same thing with your filmography. It's such a joy to have you here with us. When you think about all of these iconic roles that you have done so far, is there anything that you want people to take away from with your performances?
I just hope that doing them, I've been able, what I like to, you know, I have a character to play. However, you know, maybe it's a character that people you wouldn't want to invite home for dinner. You know, and it could be humorous or it could be tragic. But however, whatever, you know, I want to be able to bring the reality of that character to everybody. And so that we share that moment of recognizing something we all have in ourselves. No matter how, you know, if the guy's a terrible character, but there's something, if I can convey who he is inside in a way that you can identify with and empathize with. We've made a connection, so that's kind of what I like.
And you've certainly drawn us in and connected with us with your fair share of villains. You've also played some really wonderful heroes or partners to heroes, like in Back to the Future.
Yeah, Michael, bless him, he's one of a kind. His courage, his humor, his insight, and his will, all that, he's extraordinary. We get together now and then, maybe at a Comic-Con or some sort of event. It's always a joy to see it, be around it.
Connection between you and Michael J. Fox, both on screen and off, it helps, it brings such a humanity to those characters that you're playing.
Yeah, it's the first 6 weeks of, I don't know how many of you know this, the first 6 weeks of shooting Back to the Future 1 was not with Michael. It was with another actor, a good actor. But they felt that he lacked a certain feeling, comic feeling, that they wanted the character to have. And they had thought of Michael originally, before they shot the movie, to cast him as Michael, as Marty. But he wasn't available. I think he was doing a series called Family Ties at the time. And so he wasn't available, so they cast somebody else. And after 6 weeks of shooting, they felt, we gotta make a change. So somehow they worked out a deal, one night, we were shooting all night at the mall, and they said everybody after dinner, which was around 12:30 in the morning, gather at such a spot. There was an announcement to be made, and they announced that tomorrow Michael will be here. That's the story.
And I mentioned how we have so many adults and kids here as well. When you got the role of Uncle Fester, the Addams Family, that was something that you yourself, growing up, had a connection to.
Yeah, you've been reading my mail. No, when I was growing up, my family subscribed to a magazine called The New Yorker, which has cartoons in it. You know, it's supposed to be, for serious literature and all that, but they had these, it has cartoons in it. And most every week there'd be a cartoon of the Addams Family by Charles Addams. And I became, when I'm 8, 9 years old, I kind of dug, what's his name?
Fester.
Fester means to rot. Anyway, where were you?
You had a very distinct voice and a mannerism when you were playing Uncle Fester. When you are attacking a character, when you get a role, how do you prepare? How do you find that character that you're going to play?
I just keep reading over and over again, and not every day, but I just, because every time I go over it, I see something that I didn't see before, and I gradually connect the dots. When they all read it, I think, oh, he moves the funny kind of way. What way? How, and he's got a lot of hair, maybe no hair. Because you can work it out to do both. And his judgments and what he thinks about different things. So you can kind of keep connecting the dots until you get a strong image and become it as much as you can. I think that's not bad.
When I think about one of your scariest villains, Judge Doom, in Portrait of Roger Rabbit.
Yeah. Yeah, he was not a good boy. Yeah, what was I going to say something about Judge Doom? I remember I'm not sure what age I was at, but it was when the first Disney films came out. Bambi, Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs, Pinocchio, there are others. And I went and I saw those. And every one would be a moment, which was, for a youngster, a horrifying moment. The portrayal of wolves, or the lightning storm, or the witch. It just, So here I am now, I create character in a film, and kind of payback.
I think that you dipping that shoe, like Judge Doom, that is up there with Bambi's mother.
Yeah.
to our audience questions. So we're going to pop that QR code up from Fan Hub momentarily so you can get some additional questions in. But in the meantime, Christopher, we talked a lot about your film career, but as a stage actor, you have an incredible body of work there. You recently, in the last few years, portrayed King Lear at Shakespeare and Company.
Yeah, when I was 12 years old, I believe, a great actor by the name of Sir Laurence Olivier produced and acted in the title role of Hamlet. And my mother was undecided whether to take me to see the movie. This was 1948, so a little while ago. What can I say? and so she took me to see it, and I was blown away. I got the album, 78 RPM or whatever it was, and I learned a couple of the speeches. I stopped down and had a good. Here we are.
So, and I want to add this qualifier from the audience. Calling a Christopher Lloyd movie less popular, that's like me choosing between raspberries and berries. They're all delicious.
What?
So, one of your lesser known films with Camp Nowhere.
Oh, yeah.
Still incredibly popular.
Mm-hmm.
And there were a lot of youngsters on that set.
Yeah. I don't remember that much about it, but the young actresses, they were extraordinary. I mean, the energy, the kind of sense of, the talent. And I remember that there was a scene, I think I got the right movie, where I take a car through a car wash. Which film is that?
That's Camp Nowhere.
Camp Nowhere.
Nowhere. Right. And I really didn't like it. I thought it was overdone. I didn't think, I would have starting their career. Persistence could be, it seems like persistence, but there are a lot of people out there who want to do the same thing you want to do. And it's kind of who can hang in there the strongest, keep going, until eventually things begin to happen. I mean, that's what I suggest. And if you want to be an actor, and it could be a singer or whatever, but I'll stick to what I know. You want to be an actor? Find places where you could get up in front of people and act. Whatever it is. I did numerous off-Broadway shows in New York, all kinds of conditions, but you get familiar with the territory, and you keep going, you keep showing up, and you start moving along. There are those who somehow have a knack of just walking in a door and they're famous. Others, it takes the time. Not that that's the goal ultimately. For me, it's making a connection, like I explained. I'm beginning to babble.
So, this question comes from our audience. Of all of the range of co-stars that you have worked with, who has taught you the most about the craft of acting, or changed your perspective on what acting has meant to you?
So what?
The microphone was down, but he told a beautiful story.
Jack Nicholson. My first film was One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. When people ask me what film meant the most to you, I have to say, One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. Not to diminish anything else I've done or been involved with. And at the time, I kind of idolized Jack Nicholson from all the films he did before One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. And suddenly I get a break and I'm doing my first film with Jack Nicholson. And that was tremendous. I just felt he was so talented and so smart and so daring and gracious, wonderful sense of humor, and very generous with people he worked with. He just sort of epitomized, to my way of thinking, a great guy. So there was that, and then there was an incredible cast. Danny DeVito, William Redfield, and I'm sorry, I can't. Brad Dourif.
It's so lovely to hear you speak so highly of all of the co-stars throughout your career. And early on, shortly after One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, you did the series Taxi.
Yeah.
And as I understand it, you all are still very connected today and still spend time together and keep in touch. Can you talk about what it's like to have that connection with a cast this many years later?
Well, certainly in my career, no production I've ever been in hung out after it was wrapped and done. Like the Taxi group is always doing something. Maybe not every one of us every time. Mary Lou Hanner will, make sure if we are two of us in the same place, that we all, so we get together a lot. And Zoom, every few months we'll do a Zoom with everybody. And it's great. And it's kind of rare, because usually, the show ends, it wraps, everybody goes home. Maybe along the way you'll hear from someone that you remember, but
So this is our next audience question, and this is about another one of your villains. How did you like the experience of playing a Klingon in Star Trek 3? Would you ever want to be in Star Trek again?
yeah. Yeah, I would. What was my character's name? Oh, I was a Klingon captain, and putting all that costume on, talk about building a character, put a costume on, and get that makeup and all that, and you think differently about yourself. And I loved being that Klingon. He had such power. Of course, what's his name, William?
Shatner. William Shatner.
Yeah, no, William Shatner beats the shit out of him at the end of the film.
Yeah, that character didn't have the best ending.
So what? It was great. I had a point. It's your fault.
People love your villains. There's a question up now about voicing Rasputin in the Anesthesia movie. It is a favorite of this questioner and many in the audience based on that response. So that is doing a voiceover, which we haven't even touched on that with you yet. Can you talk a bit about your experience recording that?
When I first started out, I thought, I'm not really interested in doing voiceovers. I'm interested in doing live theater or film or something. I had a bit of an attitude. But it started coming up more and more often, either to dub a film you've already done, or to dub a cartoon, or something different. And I got to like it. I got to like it. I guess one thing that everything has to be in your voice, because nobody sees your body, so you have to focus and get all that same emotion into your voice. And I find myself doing a lot of spastic movements, moving around, and sometimes they'll use that. The artist will be watching, or they get you on tape, and they incorporate those movements in the cartoon. But I enjoy it. I like it now.
You mentioned live performance and live theater, and we did not get to finish that chat about King Lear. And that is not the first time you've done that show. You've also played Edgar, Edmund, and the Duke of Albany. So what is it like to revisit a show that you've done previously?
Well, all those past productions of Lear that I was in occurred in my 20s or 30s, playing different parts in the play. And I never had an inclination to do Lear. To me, Lear was, something out of my range, out of my age-wise, and emotionally, etc. So I just never thought, considered, maybe when I'm older I'll do it. Then one day when I was older, I was like, hey, why not me? You know, so I got into it. I met a wonderful theater director, Shakespearean director in the Berkshires, Western Massachusetts. And
Kevin Coleman, I think?
no,
No, not Kevin.
no, I can't think of his name. Alvin
Oh, okay.
something. Not much help. and so I went up to him. I knew something of him, and I ran into him, and I just said, how would you feel if I did Lear at your theater? And he was like, wonderful. I was expecting Chris, you know what you're doing. But he just said, let's go. And we did it. I want to do it again.
I think we want you to do it again.
I mean, you do it. This happens in any role, perhaps, that you're going to play. You do it as, you know, you put everything you can think of into it. And then you look at it months later, just pick it up, and it's like, oh my God, if I could do this again, see what I see now, you know, you get a bit of a perspective on it, and to get back and not doing what I'm thinking of now. I don't know.
So there's actually been quite a few questions that have come through. Curious about what sort of roles would you like to play? Are there any characters that you would like to play, whether it be from a book or a piece of theater that you've read?
I don't know. It would be great for something to come out like something that really would be a great challenge, different from what I've done, you know, sort of take me in a new direction. And it might happen. You never know. You never know what somebody out there has scribbled on paper.
So we talked a bit about your co-stars in Camp Nowhere, but there's a question about what was it like filming Who Framed Roger Rabbit when many of your stars were cartoons, so they weren't there with you while you were filming?
Well, we had, they put a lot of thought into that. And they got this guy, and I can't remember his name, but he's a comedian. Not somebody with a huge name, but a good comedian. And he was brought on to be Roger Rabbit. All the dialogue with Roger Rabbit or with female star.
Jessica Rabbit.
Oh, Jessica Rabbit.
So wait, I want to make sure I'm understanding this. That male actor was standing in for Jessica Rabbit?
Catch my breath. Yeah, well, not for, well, maybe he did too, I don't know. But he was really for me and the lead guy.
Bob.
And,
Bob.
yes, Bob Hoskins, thank you. And would be there had a fake Roger Rabbit. It was made out of foam or whatever. And it had some weight that weighed, I don't know, 25, 30 pounds. And it was Roger Rabbit. And if we had to do things with Roger Rabbit, physically, like pick him up or jump on our back or something, they put the plastic Roger Rabbit and you work with that. You work, what does it feel like catching 30 pounds? Then they get that in your muscle memory, and then they take the dummy away and do it without. So that was a big help. And he also wore a ridiculous costume. I don't know what it was supposed to be like, but it was crazy. And he had this, he had a voice for Roger Rabbit. So you'd have your dialogue with him off camera. And it was good. Worked out.
Did they also have a dummy for Jessica Rabbit? And did it disappear from
I
set?
don't think that it's something to talk about.
So we're coming up on the end of our time, but we've seen quite a few questions that have come through. I want to talk about Clue and filming Clue and filming that movie. So for all of our Clue fans that have put in questions for you, can you share a story from your time on set for Clue?
Oh, I don't know. I was really felt honored when I got the role in that because it was such an incredible cast, such a wonderful ensemble. And I felt I'm very lucky to be doing this with these people. When the film opened, it was kind of blah. Didn't do anything in the States. In England, it was popular, but it just doesn't go away. And over time, it's caught on to be a regular film that most everybody sees, which is great. Yeah. But I'm trying to think of
Is there anything else that you want to impart on us before we say goodbye? There's one thing you want people to take away from today, besides Jessica Rabbit. No, that's
no comment. Gee, I feel. I guess the kind of, I would so often have here yesterday and today, how people will come up and say to me, thank you for my childhood. Whatever that means, I just love more of that feeling, They wrote it beautifully. Bob and Bob. Bob Zemeckis and Bob.
Gail. Bob Gale.
Bob Gale, jeez.
Christopher.
The future is what you make it. Thank you. Lloyd.